this isn't going to be a video comparing Harry Potter and 50 Shades of Grey. Well, I mean, it kind of is, but not in the way you think. So the other day, which is technically last night, I was lying down, trying to go to sleep and then creating scenarios in my head where I was invited to talk shows because I was such a world famous author. I'm not the only one who does that, don't lie to me. When Ellen DeGeneres asked me which was better, Harry Potter or 50 Shades of Grey. Now, if you ask me, clearly, I have one answer, and that answer is never going to change. But that wasn't where the question ended. She also added, both of these books are incredibly successful. They've both made a lot of money, and they've also influenced a lot of people. So, how are we supposed to decide which one is better? The thing is deciding how to classify something as better or good. How am I supposed to know this book is better than the other book when somebody else might say, no, this book is better than this one? It always is based on what you think and your perception of the book and your likes and dislikes. Personally, I know Harry Potter is better, but one of my friends, I think the first book series she read was Twilight, and 50 Shades was the one she read after it, and she absolutely loves 50 Shades. I know, what is that like? But see, you can never tell which one is better than the other because the factors you're using don't actually matter. You can't say this book is better than the other one simply because it has sold more copies and it's earning a lot more money. You can't even say that this book is better than the other one because it's influenced a lot of people. While in the present, those are important factors, I think the only factor that matters at all is time. What I'm trying to say is that it's only time that can decide whether a book is good or not. And that does not ever rely on the present. If you look at poets and authors in earlier times, there have been some who have been severely underappreciated while they were alive. After they died and after a few years, their books kind of picked up, right? People started reading them and people started appreciating them, and now we have so many classics and so many poems that have come from people who thought they were not worth being authors or poets. I'm only using 50 Shades and Harry Potter as an example. These are two of the most influential and most talked about books that I could think of, at least in recent time. Only one of these is going to stand the test of time. It's not going to be 50 Shades of Grey, and I'm not saying that because of a personal prejudice. I'm saying it objectively. Now, if you look at Harry Potter, it's been a little less than 20 years since Philosopher's Stone came out, and people are still talking about it. People are still discovering new and interesting things about the Harry Potter world that J.K. Rowling might or might not have intended for them to notice. It's still a matter of discussion. People are still talking about it. And I know the last book released in 2007, which is still almost 10 years ago. Now, moving forward a bit, Twilight was released in 2005 and Breaking Dawn released in 2008. And Twilight was supposed to be the next big thing. It influenced so many young girls and it made such a big impact, but who's talking about it now? I know that the 10th anniversary edition of Twilight came out and there was a bit of the Twilight fans just kind of rising, getting into their molds again, but it didn't last. I don't see Twilight being talked about as much anymore, and that's the same thing with 50 Shades. 50 Shades was a big deal when it came out and people were really into it, and then the movie came out and for a while people were really, I wouldn't say into, that turned out to be a flop, but nobody is talking about 50 Shades now either. Harry Potter is kind of like a lifestyle. It's a thing that you carry with you throughout your life. Twilight, 50 Shades of Grey, and other books like that will be phases. You will be into them at a point, and then that phase will just fade out, or you will stop, bothering about it, and you'll just completely forget about it. One of my favorite series is Percy Jackson by Rick Riordan, and while I want it to survive the test of time, while I want it to be read centuries later, I want people to read it and feel all the feels that I felt, I don't think it will last as long as Harry Potter. There is something about the Harry Potter universe that is so distinctive and so different and so refreshing that other books quite haven't caught up to it, and that is actual magic. It takes skill to be able to write something that will last for a very long time, and I think J.K. Rowling accomplished that with the Harry Potter series, and that is something really phenomenal that very rare books can do. That's what every author wants to do. I want to write something like that. I want to write something that is absolutely beautiful and lyrical, and people will just keep it, store it, buy every new edition of it, and pass it down to further generations. I've read very few books that I think will last for centuries. So in that sense, if you're asking me to compare which one is better, objectively, it's Harry Potter. Subjectively, it's Harry Potter. That's it for this video. I don't even know what it was like the point of this, but I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.